I don't do. I skip
Hey,
Black Friday
I
because
think
my.
we
live?
may be live.
Oh crap! I'm
We,
sorry.
So we've had
we
a
are
couple
now
of
right
That
before
was
you
a good
finish
revelations.
that
joke.
joke.
I mean, I can lead with the joke if you want.
Well, go ahead.
Do you want to leave that joke?
I skipped Black Friday because my hatred for mankind outweighs my love for stuff. There you go.
Oh, I mean, I'm frail and will die very easily. It's the laws of predator and prey, just in a microcosm and in a Walmart.
You would burn up in
I ain't
some
got time.
sunlight. I mean, come on.
Well, it's actually cloudy out here. I won't burn up in the sunlight. I'll just get caught under a bunch
Man,
of people and die.
Just turn to
just
ashes
watching
for
all those Walmart videos, you have to be very brave to get in one. I wonder what is the IQ you need to get there.
I could get some friends. We'll do a flash mob one year where we just like stand there in kilts and face paint and just start quoting Braveheart and they will never take our freedom and just run in the store.
I'd watch that. That would be funny.
all right.
But
Always a
I don't know,
possibility. So is there anything
anyway,
anybody would like to lead with, or else we're going to do a all megas all the time, hosted by yourself, Hefe, who is the biggest mega aficionado that we've ever seen. Since I'm currently at 50 Hyperion, 50 Gantry fragments, and
Gantry?
I thought
Not
Chris
your
was
mega.
gonna-
Mega.
Because I guess it's the slide that people are seeing. I'm currently hitting the Jack mining
Nope.
bases on auto for A, base parts, and B, bunch of frags, hoping to get up
8.
to get Crusader up 8.
Wait, you're
I don't know what.
You said 91s.
No, I'm hitting the Jack mining bases.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Siege fragments to get up a Crusader. Even though I don't have any and don't plan on building any, if I ever do build one, it's going to be awesome. It's mostly base parts.
All
Well,
right.
the Crusader is that when they made the new level 60 and 70, they made that nearly obsolete because they was getting 12 minutes of damage, something like that, and now they are getting like 1 hour.
Yeah, my Punishers, I think I started to do it when they first said, hey, we changed the 60. And I was getting more damage in a 60 than I was in a 70. Like, not just a little bit, like 20 minutes versus 32 minutes or something like that. Like, a lot more.
Yeah, it was crazy the amount of damage you got in the 60s US Crusaders compared to just before the release of the new setup.
But this is sort of a lead-in to what do we expect the next siege targets to be, and what should we do? Because we haven't got any info at this point. Because, well, I guess it is, 6 weeks away?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd expect them to be like our normal ones. Like the ones we have right now.
No.
I don't know,
Hopefully not
Pepe,
with
but
more.
for me the issue is that the Crusader is likely the next step to hit higher level of mines, and the difficulty level that they rise at it to made that whole nearly useless if you compare to just before. I know that people was hitting with Punishers for nearly no damage or insta repair, but
Yeah, I was doing
I think that what they have to do instead of doing that is limit the tech you can get into those targets, because if
Where
not,
did
you're
you-
screwing the
Oh,
normal
no.
progression line.
No, don't
Where
start limiting tech that goes into more targets. That's already that's already
No,
No, I mean
Yeah,
that,
we don't
I mean
wanna
that low
limit it.
level
We want-
targets cannot be hit with high-end in tech targets.
yeah.
Oh, you
ships
want
and
to limit?
allies,
You want to
because if
limit
not-
what can hit? You want to limit what can hit what? I don't want to make it any more complex. I mean that they got a good balance at this point. And
But
and look,
the problem is that if you increase the difficulty of the low level ones, so because you're expecting people to hit with the high ending levels, you're
Right.
making that progression line for the low level players or low level tech players get very frustrating at that point.
right, but what they should do instead then is adjust the base parts to the level. That way, it's not worth hitting the 60s except for tech if you're a higher level.
Wasn't there eventual solution to this to,
Yes,
Like-
January.
well, you can, because they talked about it a while back, and they came up with you could hit like the 30s and 40s and 45s or whatever. You just didn't get the associated resource, but you got the foundry fragments.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was,
some-
done, that was done with the 30s and 40s.
That'll do fine. Also, where did you get the text for the fragment drop slide? Is that from the briefing?
Yeah,
like
that's
the
from the
forums?
briefing. Yeah, that's from the forums.
That well, it's wrong, because I just hit in orange, so 1 times 3 is 3. I just hit 60 mining base and got 6 fragments, so it's only double. I don't know.
Your sector is in orange.
My sector is in orange, and I just hit a thing in orange, and I got 6. And if technically, if that was correct, it would be nine parts instead of 6.
Yeah, it's been wrong for a while. People have complained.
Yeah, that's never been fixed. Yeah, it's been like that. Orange is going to be 6, not 9.
No,
Yeah, and in game it's correct. In game, when it says fragments doubled, that is correct.
It's
whatever's on the form.
It's explanation that is wrong. You are getting the double number of fragments you would get normally. So if on teal level you get 1, here you get 2. If in yellow level normally you get 2, you get 4, and if in orange you get 3, normally you are getting 6. So you just are doubling the number of fragments part you get for everything but mega ship related.
Yes.
Yeah, just
that's
the thing on the
correct.
form says triple. So you'd think it'd be 9, but it's actually not. I mean, it's still 6 fragments for 1 hit, which is great. But if you read the forums and did the math, you might be a little confused.
Yeah.
It's usually the best way of solving things is reading the forums and doing math.
Yes.
Yeah,
They don't want us to win, you guys.
in the past, you would say you need a dictionary because you don't understand a word. But now to read the forums, you need a calculator. That's amazing.
What are you talking about? No, it's not like that.
Even in the I mean, you still need to read all throughout the game, even in the shipyard, because I saw a build for the Malice, the new Conqueror hull, the other day. Yeah, George knows. Dude had a heavy plating 3 on, so that's unfortunate. And he had like 4 concussive reciprocators on there.
Yeah.
What?
That was
That poor soul.
Look, I'm going to tell you, some of the stuff does get complex, and the math is a pain in the ass. I wrote an article yesterday, day before yesterday, I think, that covered turrets and turret design and all that stuff. And in my rush, because I was trying to rush through the whole thing, I took the transformer that gives you extra range, and in my head, for some reason, I kept on saying 10% when it was just plus 10. And thankfully, one of the guys that read the article, posted up and said, "Hey, dude, you got it wrong," and I corrected it. But I mean, you can be intimately familiar with some of this stuff and still just overlook or just rush through something and not realize what's going on with the print. I mean, a lot of times you got to kind of just sit back, chill a little bit, and look at the printer, put something together, and then let it sit for a little bit and come back to it just so you can make sure that's what you want. I mean, the game has gotten complex. It's gotten far more complex than when we first started, that's for sure.
I mean, personally, I think it's because it's also been like the issue we just talked about with that slide. A lot of it's been poorly communicated, and the community is pushed back to the management of the community and saying this is wrong, but the same information keeps on getting copied and pasted and thrown back at us. And there's not really like a good wiki on this game. I mean, it hasn't been updated in a long time, and there's not a real good documentation for people to read through. Hey.
Hi, person.
Hey, Terry.
Hey. I'm hearing some of the stuff you guys are saying. Hey, thanks, guys. I'm hearing some of the things you guys are saying, but one thing that I've noticed, and I get on and play a lot of times, but the issue that's happening is a lot of the guys are not able to keep up with the tech. With some of these guys that are like 100, 103rd level, they get out there, and unless you coin, you can't even get close to some of these guys. And that's not really fair.
No,
what are you trying to do with them?
Hold on.
I don't mind paying a little bit of money.
I want to see this because this is an aspect that I always have issues with because I don't see this. I don't, and I coin less than $10 a month. I'd like to actually go into this a little bit. Let's chase down this rabbit hole. What do you base that on?
Well, I think it's that was the question I was going to ask. What part of the game are you talking about? Are you talking about base hitting? Are you talking about the mega halls? Are you talking about like the raids, or what aspect of the game do you think the that it's so disparate between the coiners and non-coiners, because I think a lot of it plays into priorities in the game.
Whenever they come out with
I'm sorry. Whenever they come out with,
I think he's looking at something in the computer.
Okay.
Or looking at some screen.
What I'm saying is that when they come out with all the specials, it's like you do something and you win. You get to, like, let's say the next ship, and then you get that ship, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks or 3 weeks later they come out with the next one and the ship is useless.
Give me an example.
And so now, in order to stay up with people, you got to coin in order to get the new ship that they come out with that's useless.
Give me an example.
And they keep doing this on a regular basis.
I've got to disagree here. I want to hear an example of this. Give me an
example. Pretty much every hull that's come out in the past 8 months is still useful.
Yeah, they're purposely designing it so that doesn't happen, and I want to know, because I've heard.
Okay, an example. Let's go. Useful in what aspect? In the weeklies, yes. Useful in the weeklies, yes. But when you do any of the special events, they're not useful.
Such as what?
Rhinos. How are rhinos useful?
Hey, one at a time.
How are rhinos useful in the specials events that they've had?
The rhinos are a year and a half old. And honestly, look, I'm going to say this: a rhinos behind a tank can still do the 91s. I know people that are doing that now to collect their gantry fragments.
My guess is Terry's been playing for a while. Have you been playing for a while, Terry?
I have. What happened is I've been playing for a real long time, but what happened is I left for a long time there.
Yeah.
And I was behind back when they were. Yes, I left for a while, and then what happened was I came back, and you guys had changed it, or they had changed it from where you couldn't attack anybody under the certain level, and then all of a sudden they changed it. They changed all levels. I came back and I've been playing, and the guys I'm with are helping me when the events come out to try to get the better information and stuff. But it's just difficult to get there. And
yeah. Well, because I'm a longtime player. I have a 4-digit ID, and the game has changed a lot. As far as back in the good old days, you had your MCX that could do every part of the game. You could hit bases, you could go fleet to fleet, and whatnot. And they've changed the game in a lot of ways to not make, these multitaskers, these Swiss Army knife ships anymore. The last one they put out was the Punisher, and that's still much more limited than the MCX. And the Tide Seeker is a little bit of a multitasker, but they've changed the game a lot as far as each ship has a niche. And I think, is that part of what you're, starting early, leaving
part of my issue right now is I don't know if it's a delay or what, but I'm getting the feedback and I'm hearing, so I lose my train of thought. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem. I'm not sure. When that happens to me, sometimes when I plug in the headset, it doesn't automatically turn off my own microphone. Or are you on YouTube? If you're on YouTube, you should go ahead and mute the YouTube, because you'll hear this through the Hangouts as opposed to the YouTube.
Let's try that now. I just closed the YouTube one.
Okay. That may have ended your problem.
I'm not hearing any. Okay, yeah, the delay's gone now. Good. Now okay. I can think a little better. What I'm talking about is like, I came back, and the group of guys that I'm with right now are a pretty good group of guys. When any of the special events come out, if I have the time, I get on there, and they help me get at least something out of the event. But I'm still finding to get anything useful out of the event, I'm going to have I don't mind, like I said, I don't mind coining, but when you look at like build times for the ships and you look at everything overall, I'm telling you, the guys that have the top stuff out there, if they tell me they're not coining at all, I'm going to call them a liar, because I just can't see how they can do something like that.
I'm not afraid that they
Hold on.
Wait.
One person.
Let's go, Brian.
Because
Brian, go ahead.
Defer to George.
Brian?
George, go.
Okay.
I coined just my raid, and most of the time it's because I'm working for somebody else or whatever. But the question that I have for you, because the way it sounds like you're trying to do everything in the game all at once rather than prioritizing the game, which is something that's very important now, the way that the game is designed. So that the first thing that you should be doing is getting an FM fleet and concentrating on the FM. Forget the gantry, forget the mega hull, forget the raids, forget all that shit and concentrate on the FM first. So, and I mean, I don't know when you came back, but the Tide Seeker campaign was pretty easy. If you had rhinos, you could get the Tide Seeker. The Tide Seeker, fantastic tank for the FM. I have a video. I actually have like 3 videos.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm going in to figure out what the last ship was that I just got not that long ago, and I'm working on building a decent fleet. I have one fleet. Let me look and see. I'm waiting to get into the game so I can see what it is because I can't remember the name of the ship now.
I'm just saying, if you try and concentrate on different aspects all at once, you're going to get frustrated as hell, and you're going to want to stab somebody.
Right.
I mean, I know.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Many times.
So as a player coming back, one of the things that you have to do is prioritize what you want to do. Otherwise, you'll feel exactly like you're describing, which is why I said, well, what are you doing? Because to get to where the upper players are that you're referencing, because a lot of us are not upper players. I am by far not an upper player, but I can get all the stuff. I just don't build it or can't use it because I'm not going to coin it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you come back, especially coming back because stuff is so much different now, you have to concentrate on one kind of stepping stone at a time. So FM first, then the raids and the chores. And the thing is Kixeye, excuse me, Kixeye has designed it now, whereas say Siege is coming up in January, according to the hints that he gave us in the forums. If you build, you'll have a chance to get the hull hopefully in December, if not in January. That will do well for those 4 months of raid. Now the thing is after those 4 months of raid, those targets are now going to become the Drac mines and the uranium bases. So you're going to get the fleet that you get for that cycle is now going to be good for about a year. You see what I mean? So it's folding into itself and slowly becoming like that. Like the Apollos, if you'd come back early on and gotten the Apollos.
Yeah, I was trying to get those the last time. Right now, I've got Punishers. That's the fleet. I have a fleet of 4 Punishers right now, and I can go in on the weeklies. I can get up to a certain level, but even if I spend a lot of time on it, trying to do the weeklies to get some of the parts of things that I don't have, like armor and other things, I'm not being able to get any further than maybe tier 3.
You get a hold of me with 4 Punishers. I'll show you what you can refit to do them, and you'll be able to get to tier 5, man. I mean, honestly, that's all it is. You just got to find a couple people that can help you and point you in the right direction, and you will slowly.
Well, the thing is that's the thing is some of the things I need to make those Punishers capable of getting to tier 5. I am unable to do it this time because they're just not
attainable or available.
Yeah, until I get more of the tier 4 items, even it's going to be harder for me to get the Punishers where they need to be, where they could get to the tier 5 and not have to coin a ton of coins. And the guys that, like I said, the guys I'm with are a good group of guys, and they are helping me with this stuff. It's just it takes a lot of time, and then once you finally get the stuff, it's like, okay, then it takes 30 days to build a ship.
Oh, it should.
The ship is see, that's the problem. That's why I think shows like these are a good idea for somebody like you to listen to, because we'll call out a ship as like a luxury ship. It's a very limited niche ship, and you shouldn't build it unless you just got extra dock time, or shipyard time that you can waste. Like, the Harlock Tide Seeker. That's for everybody that's got everything. And it's a very long build time, and that's in that example that you used of 30 days. I'm just wondering if a lot of the hulls that you have are older at this point that you're trying to build, where you're getting 30-day build time, because I think they've done a poor job at times. I mean, they've done it a lot, especially when something enters the foundry. But sometimes they've done a poor job of looking back and looking at the level of the technology and adjusting the build times accordingly. I know people can come out with examples and say they did this and that, but they don't know what everybody's technology is. And that's more my point. You can say, oh, they've reduced this down to this, but there's still like things that people may have and things that people may want to be able to build.
Well, here's a prime example. I've got a fleet of Revenges.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And when they first came out with those, I mean, I was in there. I worked on getting it. I didn't get them right away, but I got them about maybe a month later.
Okay.
And I've been building them up, and it's like, and then all of a sudden, after I get them, and I even coined a little because I wanted to get a fleet of them. I thought, great, this will be great to help me even in the weeklies.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go out there, and next thing I know, they change them, and they're a piece of crap. They
Okay.
They are.
The problem
unless you have crews that are 3-star crews or something, they're a piece of crap.
No, the problem with this is the Revenges were never intended for PvE, and Kixeye actually did come out and say that about a month before the raid almost, and then during the raid, I know myself personally, I posted it everywhere, and even in Laredo's vid on the forums, I said, hey guys, don't expect this to be working a week or two after the raid because it's supposed to change to just a base hitting fleet. That's all it is. And they did really well, I think, in not only buffing, they actually buffed it to hit bases because it wasn't doing as well as they expected. It was the first Conqueror hull, and I mean, honestly, I don't know how much more they could have done to let everyone know that they were not going to be doing well in weeklies and stuff. They were never intended to.
They were never intended for weeklies?
No.
They were only intended to hit player bases. That's why they're Conqueror Whole.
Bases. Okay.
But people that have been playing the whole time, like there's a guy that's been playing, the problem is some of the wording that they've used with like the words, they keep on using the word deflection to mean multiple things. Siege and assault deflection are one thing that will work against the PvE targets, your FM, your mining targets, your whatever. But the damage specific, your penetrative, your explosive, whatnot, they will only work against player bases and player fleets. They are completely useless against the other things I mentioned, like the Forsaken mission targets or mining bases or whatever else you may be hitting. And it would have been so nice at some point if they called one deflection and one shielding, because I've like a guy I've been playing with for years, and I've been explaining it to him like every other week, the difference between no, you're not going to take your fury and do this with it. You that's not what you want to do with it. That's a base hitting haul. You don't really hit bases. I wouldn't put a lot of priority into it and whatnot. But siege and assault are one class of thing, and then like damage, explosive damage, penetrative, explosive, concussive, corrosive, all those other things fall into a different class. And is that sort of the issue you're running into as far as understanding?
Yeah, and some of it. I mean, like I said, you're right. A lot of it, they didn't come out and say things like that, and it made it difficult because then you spend all this time building a fleet of like the Revenges, and you end up having issues. Then all of a sudden, you're like, well, why did I even waste the time in that for this?
I'm afraid that you are wrong there as well, because if you have written the forums, I don't remember if it was Raikon or Scarlet, but one of the two, I think it was Raikon, that made an article about these new holes and whether they were supposed to work. And there you can read it. The problem is that maybe you have not go to the forums and you have not read. And I suggest that you go to that part of the forums where they are related to all the old posts, that they are not more in the general discussion, and you read them all because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that.
Well, it's there, but then you need to search for something that you don't even know exists.
Yeah, I mean,
but we all know.
One of the things that is a plus or a boon in being in an alliance is that you hear about this stuff even if you don't go there. The other thing that, and I think Kixeye is actually working on this, is they're trying to get better at informing the players of stuff. I mean, they've been putting stuff at the top of the screen now all the time. I mean, not all the time, but I mean, there are options that they have that they can do it. I think they just have to exercise those options more often rather than less. I mean, I know that there are several methods to impart information now between the shows and the forums, and then blogs and stuff. So this one, I mean, honestly, you got caught on the revenge, and I know a lot of us are gonna go, hey, you know what? It was out there. I mean, and it was out there a month before the raid. It was very much discussed during the raid. And then after the raid, and there's still people that keep on saying, well, they nerfed it, they nerfed it, they nerfed it, and it really wasn't. It was just more tuned in line to what it was designed to be. But I'll say, look, there's a lot of people that, yes, they got caught with the revenge thing. They did, and obviously he did as well, which sucks because you got 5 of them. On the other hand,
Right.
you got 5 revenges. So I don't know. I think you sound like you're at the point where you got the Punishers. I would tweak them. I would find out what works in the 109s, because with 4 or 5 Punishers you can do 109s.
Really, so I've never been able to do a 109 with the 4 Punishers that I have.
The Punisher is a very good haul. It has a lot of uses.
I do like it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, again, what I think the issue is that I don't have the higher tier stuff that I need to put on there. Like some of the other guys, they'll ask me in my group, they'll say, well, what do you have? And then I'll start running down the equipment I have, and I'll have maybe 50% of the equipment to put on the ship that they said would be the best fit for the ship. And then that's my deal during the week, is trying to go and get those other items that are needed. I mean, I kind of like the fact that they make it where it's in succession, but I kind of like wish that when I get to tier 2 or 3 that I could pick what I want first, because then that might make it easier for me to get what I need. Instead, if something I need is 5 away, then I've got to do 5 weeks worth and get up to tier 3 and 4 in order to get what I need in order to make the ship better. And by that time, you're another month or 2 into it, if you understand what I'm saying on that.
But one question: are you doing at least Forsaken mission twice a week? Are you getting the tier you can hit twice a week?
If I have the time, I do, yes, but not always. And when I get to it, I get close to getting to tier 4, but the only way I'm going to get to tier 4 now, the way my Punishers are, is if I coin.
Wait a moment. You said you have a fleet of rhinos, right?
Only way. Yes, I have 2 fleets of rhinos, actually.
Okay. If you have friends that help you, ask one of them to put the Punisher they are using as tank on that Forsaken mission in front of your fleet, and you go just behind of them. And you will be able to get tier 4. That's how I did to get my tier 4 first, to get the tech that you are needed, the frontline countermeasures, the algorithms for your Punishers, the nuclear accelerators, and once you have that, then you don't need them all. Just give, if you say you are coining, give to one of those guys that is helping you, so he can repair his tank anytime, any week, 2 times. And you just go and hit those 109, so those 102 with him. You get your points to get those 50 millions, and that's how I did. You do that for 1 or 2 months. You are getting 8 prices.
I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to tell him if he jumps to me within 2 weeks, I'll have you get into tier 4, no problem, twice a week, and maybe even up to tier 5. If you have the revenge and you have the Punisher, you got to have some tech that I can twist into working. That's
right.
my problem.
Well, right now I could tell you what I have on my Punishers. I mean,
we can do that. We can do that in the after show. I don't want to take up too much of this time. I mean, and for the raid, I don't know how big of alliance members you have, but what I usually generally tell people, especially if they're trying to catch back up, it's worth the $10 investment to hire a merc or pay someone in your alliance to run your raid. Your targets out, get all your points, and because I mean I do that just about every raid except for the last couple, I think.
And that's especially true with this upcoming raid in December. It's a whole store raid where they've just got a big old, it's basically Walmart-sized prize list of hulls and specials and weapons.
Hopefully,
you should be able to do a lot more with your money with the merc in December.
Okay.
And for learning the targets themselves, if you go out on the world map and you click on something like a Draconian mining base, which is it's a siege thing for base parts, or the Drac strongholds for the FMs, or the Legion Assault, most targets will have a little info button above them if you click on them, and it'll tell you what types of damage it deals, what types of damage it's weak to, and what it will give you. So I'm looking at a 109 right now, and it says its strengths are penetrating and explosive, so it deals missile and explosions. Cold Snap, which is explosive, you probably don't have to worry about that. Weakness is explosive, so you want to take explosive into that. And the rewards are garrison fragments and citadel fragments. And the garrison is the type of target it is. If you were to look back on your ships now, they'll all have a type associated with them. Assault, garrison,
Right.
skirmish. That's what you'll kind of want to match those to the targets. And look in the foundry as well. Those are kind of goals that they'll let you get up to. You might have not been around for the foundry, but you go and hit some simple targets on the map, and after you hit enough targets, you should be able to craft a hull and then make it stronger. So that's a good way to start things you might not have a good fleet for
Latest
right
and
now.
greatest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the latest and greatest is yeah. But have you hit that many foundry targets to actually achieve a haul, or is it mostly to buff it up, Brian?
I've gotten a couple of holes off of the foundry.
But low
Sometimes
level
the
hauls?
yeah, like tier 3 and tier 4, the ones that I just didn't have.
Yeah.
But the lower stuff should be somewhat easy to get, because I think a lot of the tier 1 is in like the level 75 elites and the level 71 salvages, like the real simple stuff.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
it's-
exactly the best starting point, but it's there.
Yeah, I mean, if Terry has Punishers, the easiest one I've seen, because the problem I've had with the Foundry system is you need to have that ship to earn that ship. With the
Yeah.
exception of the somebody that owns Punishers and also maybe owns Novas. Jerry, do you own Novas?
No, I don't have any Novas.
Okay, what's the best mortar haul you have?
God, which one would that be? I'd have to look. I'm not sure. See,
Okay.
I don't know the game that well either.
you got
That kind of
Berserkers?
frustrates me because I haven't had time to be able to catch up. I know that they've converted a lot of stuff, but over like the past year, I haven't had time to catch up with half of it. I'm just working my way, trying to see what I can do.
You guys know I'm going to be picking his brain in the after show, right? I'm just telling you now, I'm going to be picking his brain like crazy.
You know, we got you back. we will help you out.
I don't
But
bite.
the,
I mean, don't take it the wrong way. I'm very curious, because this is the type of perspective that it's very difficult to put yourself in the shoes of this perspective without having been in it for a while. So
Yeah, because a lot of it's been made much easier for these people that don't necessarily coin but stay active the whole time.
yeah,
Because basically the way I see it, either you stay active the whole time or you coin some percentage to catch up, or have your friends help you by either doing an anti-tank for you in the FM so you don't take any damage, and you can just come in, like the 109s. It might be tricky, and you might get blown up a couple times, but there are ways for somebody to tank for you for that 109, and you take minimal to no damage, and you only need to hit like 3 of them. So you just need to have something that pumps out the damage in order to do it. But there's different ways to do it. But yeah, if you've fallen behind, it's either having people, at least from my perspective of watching, because I've been playing, I haven't really, laid my mouse down, so to speak. Is from how I've seen people catch up, it's either coining or getting help from other people. And George is going to bring up the FM targets, but the FM targets you still need to have, like a decent mortar fleet. You got the Punishers, which is great. The Punishers.
I've done it now. See, you can't say that, because I've done it with all Punishers before too.
But he said, for example, that he has Punisher. So if he builds a right tank for that Punisher, he can put even those DNXs, I guess, that he still have DNXs behind. And he can do with that till he can improve getting the tier 4 prices to improve those Punishers to do with Punishers alone.
I mean, I have my old Arbalest Punishers that were collecting dust, and I just changed the tank in the front and went with it. And I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was really crappy driving. I could have probably cut my damage in half, but the damage is only 2.5 hours for a complete 109. That's not bad considering you got 3 days to do it.
Oh, as far as everybody else goes, that's got everything done. As far as because me and on Fridays, me and George have done at least 1 or 2 shows on the 109, and we concentrated on the tank. What I found is once I changed, I started changing over. I think I have 2 or 3 ships now where I changed from Explosive 4 to Incendiary System 2. And I chopped it from like an hour plus or minus a couple minutes to about like 45 minutes plus or minus a couple minutes without changing my tank. So other people are listening out there that have that ability, and it doesn't take that long to make the switch over. It doesn't change your speed or it doesn't do anything like that. I don't know what your other specials are, but I found the increased splash that I was getting, increased splash and spread that I was getting, was taking out these targets completely, where I didn't have to like move up a little bit. So, for people that that got everything, that's what I saw was the biggest mover, at least in my FM this week.
Once I finished with my testing and stuff, I haven't really played much with anything else. I mean, once I got down to 39 minutes with the Tide Seeker, I was like, I'm good. That's fine. I mean, I can do 3 of them with the single Tide Seeker. So
yeah.
But like I said, I mean, stick around in the after show, and we'll see if I can square you away. I got a build from TSM as well for just Punishers. I mean, we can chat. It'll be good.
Okay.
So, give us a new subject.
Alrighty. Let me see what the next slide might be.
I'll get to my girl. I mean, I like her a lot. I don't like her.
Okay, well, I mean, this is he left, but
this is pretty relevant, actually.
Yeah. Well, this is the
That
4th
one?
time I've shown that slide. Yeah.
I mean, it's still relevant.
Yeah. I mean, just as long as people know that if you're not.
I mean, I guess she's practicing safe sex. She does have a rubber on her.
True.
Yes, that is
point.
possible. That is true. And also, it sort of looks like a new world. I don't know what's going on there in that picture. I'm assuming it's some sort of New York penthouse with an infinity pool and.
Yeah, I think it's an infinity pool.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. It looks like fun though.
Unless you get drunk and go over the edge, I mean, that's a hell of a fall.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Just remember, it's not the fall that kills you; it's the sudden stop.
Yep, that's true. Very, very true. But Armada's changing. Make sure you get your Tide Seekers or your Hellwraiths done. I mean, otherwise you're going to be hurting for uranium for a while.
Yeah, and they've given us plenty of notice on this one. I mean, I've already put it up 3 times, and it's not really going to be effective. It says December 21st, but it's not going to actually be till January 20-something. I haven't lined up the days. But it's January when you can no longer get uranium from Reaver Armadas.
Yes.
Yes. So
they're going to overlap by a month.
And I hope they bring out the Tide Seeker campaign
Again, yeah.
once more between now and when it's only Reavers, to help people that might not have a good subfleet just be able to get something together, even bits of uranium.
Yeah, and now we're getting the next slide is the Malevolence, and I'm curious how Terry did, because it doesn't sound like you have whoops.
Speaking of the Tide Seeker, Malevolence.
Well, I've seen. Okay, well, you can get into that. I mean, I've been watching people using Tide Seekers, but I've been using Citadels and Harlock Citadels and Valiants as spotters, and I just ran through it with, boom, 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 no coins, no real repairs, and it was easy and it was amusing.
I just left my base the way it was and just kept on clicking the button. I mean, that's all I did. But I have a Harlock Citadel in my base defense, so.
Yeah. Terry, have you tried it?
No, I haven't. I don't think I would last very long. Even I don't have any of that stuff.
I would. Well, no. Well, this is the stuff they give you.
Yeah.
So if you want to get stuff, this is a good chance to get it. I don't think you know. What happens is you go in there, the Reavers start to attack you in a certain number of waves and whatnot. And I would concentrate on your base patrol as far as positioning and whatnot. But the worst that's going to happen is they're going to mess up your base, and you're going to get a 12-hour bubble, and you just learn something. I mean, I would try it. It's amusing, and it looks very overwhelming. You know, like there's 80 Reavers trying to get into your base. But if you're set up anywhere correct, you know, you're owning them the whole time. But I would give it a try. I mean, it's active until Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
Tuesday,
I mean,
yeah.
if you want Terry in the group chat for the show over here, right here, I have a link to the very first prize pack, so you can see what happens and how you might want to set up to defend against it. Subs have worked well for people. Tide Seekers, any mortar fleet. I mean, there's a lot of options, but that'll show you the very first prize pack, which will give you the meteor mortar. The second prize pack is not that bad. If you hop on to, I think the forums has someone actually explaining how they went through all of them and then switched out their guard for the spites, and then switched back. If you take a little bit of time, you'll actually be able to probably pull through at least the first two prize packs pretty easily, hopefully.
Okay.
And worst comes to worst, you got a 12-hour bubble that you can repair everything. So it's not awful. Do it at the end of the evening before you go to sleep, and when you wake up, everything will be brand new again.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to try maybe this weekend.
Yeah. This is just more of the same. I'm just trying to provide a little, little structure. The Malice again. I don't know. Does anybody want to talk about this? Except for the fact that I'm waiting to build it, waiting for the new ballistic technology to come out, whether that's a weapon or a special.
Hopefully.
It's probably going to be both, I imagine. It looks really good. It feels pretty generalist because it has 3 deflections inherent, as they all do, but then it's got just kind of solid, good amounts for 5 deflections at Bloodthirst, and it's got the overload, kind of like a Spite does. It's pretty good lead. Just snipe away for 100 range and let your mortars rain down. I like it.
Yeah, and until we see the new ballistic technology, I ran through it using in my shipyard. I didn't actually build it, but looked at it with Earthshakers, and you didn't even need an engine to get to combat speed 35. So it's interesting that way, unless you need a speed faster than 35. But it's interesting from that perspective as a tank that doesn't potentially need an engine.
Or you want to have it go really, really fast for other reasons, but
Yeah. But I'm saying there's different ways to build it. I mean,
Yeah.
You could throw more evade, or you could do whatever,
there are options. Yes,
Yeah.
there are options.
Which I really like the fact that a lot of the old school players like the options.
I like that it's not a click the back of the base hull.
Yep.
Ah, yes.
The Maxim.
Luxury.
But with this, you mean that if you buy the magazine, you get the cannon, or
No, if you win the cannon, they'll send you this picture. I think it's signed from
you win the cannon, they give you a magazine subscription? Oh, right. That's
Yes. Well, no. If you buy the magazine, the cannon is double barreled.
oh, I see.
Yes, you figured that out now. Okay.
Double your pleasure.
Yeah.
You read the magazine first, and then eventually you get the canon.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna. I'm just wow.
Not
You're,
gonna
you're
touch
too
that with
young.
a 6
You're,
foot
you're
cannon.
too young to understand it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the BP Late Show, folks.
If you have kids watching, why?
Yeah, yeah. No,
We are so sorry.
he's really not, since he's the one that said it. But he's saying it.
Whatever.
Oh,
What did I say?
God. Not you,
No,
Brian.
no me.
Okay.
Brian was the I mean, anyway, so we have a pair of cannons on the screen. I mean, a cannon on the screen with
That would be
It's not
3
a
cannons
cannon.
total.
I don't know
Well,
how
it's
you
not a
have
cannon
a slow
because
wind-up with this.
it's concussive. Well, the wind-up is so slow relative to the minigun because it's 1300 versus 2500, and then you come over to let me turn on the laser pointer, and then you come over here where it's a salvo 5 as opposed to a salvo 2, which increases. Well, it's showing right on my page. And then I think it's a reload time versus a reload 4. And Brian, you can think about how that's going to impact this stacking that's going on over here. By, this is half as slow, and this is maybe more than half as slow. And so you can, because both start off with the same DPS with the first until they get a stack. And then once the stacks take off, the minigun just owns it. But it has way longer range. It's 235 versus, what's the range of the minigun?
30, what's it? Like, I didn't do the math on this. I just oh, I know what this is supposed to do. I will put one in and put the appropriate specials. And there, you get one slot for the Maxim gun.
There we go. Okay. But I think I'm going to go with 2 of them total. One with eruption prior combined with advanced concussive, and another one with advanced concussive with priority targeting. Just because
150 on the minigun turret range.
There you go. My game's still loading.
Okay. No minimum. Because the 90 minimum range I think it's the biggest ever in the game. But this is the largest range ever as well.
It's a big minimum range, but it's a big maximum range. You're betting they don't get to your center island. If they get to your center island, well, you have other problems.
Yeah, there are issues there. They're coming in to say hi. This is meant to reach out and touch someone.
Yeah, and then the other issue, which I'm not sure how much damage is actually taken, because the splash to spread ratio on this one is like nothing we've ever seen before. The splash is larger than the spread, and then all these flash specials that we have. The data mining hasn't come out yet as far as what the minimum splash is, or projectile speed, or other things. All I've ever seen is people in my sector attacking people in other sectors that have the Maxim gun built. And I see it looking like it's missing by quite a bit, especially at maximum range. If you're moving perpendicular to the, how the Maxim is.
It's a dumbfire weapon, of course.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, the dumbfire weapon, as far as what the projectile speed is, that's why I said the eruption pyre at one point. I'm not sure how that's going to work at all. But once you multiply that projectile speed by the long range, then you're going to miss by even further if you have a fast target, or a target that's moving fast relative to your aiming point.
Right, but if you put on something like the expanded concussive charge, and then
eruption pyre,
the Zinth shells or something, you have
eruption pyre is Well, that's what I'm saying. My combination was Eruption Power, which adds 37% to my projectile speed and 20% to my splash. And then I add Advanced Concussive, which adds 60% to my splash. So
Right.
I'm adding 37% to my projectile speed and 80% to my splash.
I did the math on expanded concussive and Zenith because that's what I used as the example because I was also trying to illustrate the power draw. And that comes out to over a land tile of splash.
Yeah. But we don't know at this point because we don't get the information relative to what's going on with the projectile speeds, which was back in the day would have been most fascinating associated with mortars, but we still haven't got it yet. But
They have the mortar ones listed.
the data money. I'm talking about
Right.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah. It just seems like something that they should list.
Well, and
My
the problem with this is there's so much stuff that they could list, right? At what point do you stop? Because, one of the things that we used to do back in the day was figure this crap out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
But-
don't know. I mean, there's otherwise you're gonna have pages and pages of data that it's gonna make it even more complex than it already is.
Well, they don't even provide. I don't know. You missed the beginning of the show when we're talking about, even as far as okay, we're going to double and triple your shards and whatnot, whatever they are. I'm going to move on.
Sure I didn't miss it. I'm just
What?
saying it's we can ask. I'm just saying we could ask for a whole lot of stuff, and even if they provide it for us, it's gonna. I just think it's eventually going to clutter it. What I would like them to do.
Okay. Do you want me to do the show next Wednesday of me crossing out stuff that's useless?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Can I finish my sentence? You didn't even let me finish my sentence. I said I would much rather have them answer questions that we have of it. If we want to go, hey, what's this? And they answer it in the forums, that's awesome because there's a lot of things that we learned that way through other people and through just general info that's not in the game. Like damage is only half of what it's really stated. When you calculate stuff, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I would much rather have them start answering those questions instead of ignoring them. That's a whole nother story, though. It's a completely different subject.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the retrofit lab and what we don't know about the siege labs? I think we can, move on.
I actually like this slide on Wednesday. This was actually good.
Which one?
The stuff that you should be planning on starting to retrofit for the siege thing on in January. Get your guns done, get you the different armors and stuff done, and I like it.
But nobody, don't blame us for this because we don't actually know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're just guessing. We're guessing on stuff that they hinted at in the forums, and just like last month, they gave us the Conqueror Hull and a TLC, and then gave us the not last month, but last raid set. They gave us the Conqueror Hull and early, and then the month before the new raid set, they gave us the Hellwraith in the raid a month early, which is great. Granted, it was twice as much, and if they do that again, I would expect the same thing.
And again, we all expect some ballistic. We expect a ballistic weapon. Well, at least I do. In the next raid, I expect, if not before, in a TLC, a ballistic weapon and a ballistic special.
If they do a TLC again, I want the Tide Seeker to be in it. I want the Tide Seeker TLC to come out again. I think
feel like
that would benefit more people than anything else.
I feel like they could have a defensive special in there too, something like turret defense and splash damage reduction, or turret defense and
For
attack
January?
field?
Yeah.
attack field. Well, for December, for January, but yeah,
Right. I know what you meant. Yeah, that's not a bad
we've
idea.
got we've got Speed System 5, your Alloy, and then you can put Nuke Excel and Siege Battery 3 and Siege Targeting 3, and that's all the damage you'll ever need, and more. And then it provides a good, do I really want to just kill all the things really, really fast, or do I want a little more staying power in the actual siege targets?
Since we're talking about staying power, no, never mind. I thought it was the other slide.
The other slide. That doesn't have much staying power. It fires off every 0.2 of a second.
Go ahead, go up one. Go ahead, go up one. Go up a slide. Go up a slide.
Down?
And make a joke.
Down or up? Yeah.
Yeah, I like her. Her butt's just. Oh my god.
Well, we're gonna go back to the.
I don't care about this one.
Brian, you want to talk about it?
If you have kids watching, you were warned.
What she was making, it was, this is Wednesday's show. This is my house. Thanksgiving morning.
I'm still concerned about the fire.
She's making a little turkey stock for the gravy at this point.
In a copper pot, in a rusted ass or copper pot with fire in the background.
I don't think that's copper. I think that's just a really dirty
I think it's copper. Copper on the outside. But,
it feels like.
This isn't my French house. So, when I live in France I live in France for
wait.
months out of the year.
You said 2 minutes ago was your house. Now it's your friend's house.
No, France. My house in France, Tito.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
it's his house in France.
Yeah.
She's showing the ass. She's showing the nip. She's showing all sorts of good stuff. A fantastically gorgeous back too. Holy crap! But anyway.
Radioactive plate.
Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, we were.
Yeah, she's too thin.
I was specifically asked to talk about it, and then we bring it back to this slide, which is hard mode. I mean,
I'm telling them it's surprising that they asked you some accuracy and then distract you that way. It's crazy.
It's the troll. It's like, hey Brian, you get to say things today. Nope. Chuck has to no.
Go ahead, Brian. Well, this is the slide I didn't talk about because I had screwed up, from, I had reversed between 4 and 1, and so it didn't make any sense. So I didn't want to talk about it at all because I was disappointed in myself.
It's a pretty easy autocorrect for a lot of people, and even so, it's a good thing to have a radio plate 4 on a lot of hulls, at least one. I haven't done the math on superpowered vanquishers because I feel like when they released Spite with the radioactive deflection of 100,000, I think a lot of people were like, well, my vanquisher sucks now, and might have reeled them back in when they maybe shouldn't have. Put 1 on your Conqueror hull at the very least. Maybe put 2. I might put 1, and then there's evade plates. There's the war plating if you feel like you're up against a lot of flash, and you usually are. So it's a good another tool in your toolbox of Conqueror armors, which still sounds a little weird to say, to be honest, but it's nice that they made it radioactive deflection so that A, now you know kind of where it goes on Conquerors and Defenders, and B, now that it's not, that it's not so good in PvE, hopefully. And it works consistently with what it says. Very nice.
Anymore?
I'm not talking. We can look at the chick with the fire in the French house now.
Okay. Yes. All right. Can everybody love the TLC?
Yeah, I made it through 3 and 4. I guess it was Wednesday night that I did that. Yeah, and I didn't really take any damage. A Valiant and 2 Tideseekers and a Hellwraith and Harlock Citadel to take advantage of various spotters, and they chunked out a couple of turrets, and they never even made it to my channel.
Yeah, and it was, I found it fascinating with it was I'm trying to think of the movie, not Tremors, but it seemed like it came out as some very bad science fiction movie where everything in the world was attacking you, but you were just sitting there with your BFG and just knocking them down.
Oh, so Doom. Well,
yeah, Doom would have been a good, but yeah. Well, BFG started with Doom, right? Or did it start somewhere else?
I'm pretty sure it started with Doom.
Yeah. George is older than everybody. Did it start with Doom?
What?
George is looking at the picture. and has no idea.
You distract him, and now you want him to be.
I'm daydreaming and have no idea what y'all are talking about. And I'm actually no offense,
Okay.
but I just got.
Should somebody start a poll in the forums as far as what she's actually cooking? You know,
gives a
The
shit?
press beta release of Doom, so the very first one, they had that gun in there.
The very first thing is going to be who gives a shit what she's cooking.
well, whatever. After you look at it for like a couple of minutes, then you're like, "Oh, what the hell is she cooking?" That doesn't come up.
Really? No, I no. As
I'm
No, I think-
the only
I
one
think you have a
who's
serious
the
problem
amount of
with asking
fire.
me
that
wondered
is
what she was cooking. Not once.
Yeah.
All the times that I've seen
Just
the
for
picture,
once?
I wondered.
Just for once, I will agree with George. And if somebody's asking what she's cooking, you have a
gives a
serious
shit?
issue.
It depends how long I leave the slide up. If I leave the slide up for an
Really?
hour, everybody's gonna wonder what she's cooking.
No. I disagree.
Alrighty.
Either that or I'm a
George
very,
is
very,
worried.
very healthy
George is worried if
40-something
she's
year
going to get burned or not.
No,
That's what she's
really.
worried.
Yes, Jaffe is always an issue. But alrighty.
Safety first.
Yes, I'm gonna go off present. So nobody wants to talk about the radio plate.
I did.
Yes, I know you did.
I did.
What happened to Terry? I mean, Terry just dropped. I don't know what happened to him.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
well,
He left a while back. He can come back.
Did-
Maybe he just
Does
came
he have?
to.
Does he have a significant other that found out about the slides?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, he did have a 6 or 7 year old child watching the slides. At one point, that's when I switched the slides because there was like a 7-year-old or 6 or 7-year-old when I had it on the teal girl. Because the reason I have this, she's in teal, which is underrepresented by what Doom Rooster did in the forums. They did yellow and orange, and I was adding the teal here. And there was a 6-year-old kid that kept on hovering over him during that period of time. So that's what I fast forwarded over. Well,
So he's having-
yes.
So perhaps he's having
maybe
a
he
talk
got
with
worried
his- with
because
his
you
child.
started with the full swimsuit and you ended with just the sneakers, and he was worried about what was coming on the next one.
I like that girl in the blue too. She's just wow. But anyway, should be at school. Mark is right. Kid should have been in school.
Depending on the. Nope. They'd all
It
be.
doesn't matter. Should have been in school. Doesn't matter. The answer is should have been in school. I got distracted because I just got a message that No Man's Sky was actually going to get a Foundation update, and I'm so pissed off about that game. I got distracted. I'm sorry. Anyway, on to other things. Actually,
thing
we're
that
already
was
5
supposed to
over.
have happened by at latest like a week and a half ago or something.
A weekend, like
Yeah.
months ago.
Because I looked at the post, like I don't own the game, but I looked at the post and it's like, oh, by latest this is going to be out mid-November. Well,
No, there's so many things that they promised, and it's such a god awful game sometimes. It's just
you set a floor and then you fell through it. Congratulations, you are now in the basement.
huh?
They set a floor for like the latest this can be is going to be, mid-November, and then they failed to meet that. So they set the bare minimum and then they didn't even do that. Congratulations.
Oh, dude, just the release is bad. I mean, they're being investigated in the UK, I think, for fraud.
Yeah, there's
so-
that, and I guess
Whole other story. But I don't. Do we all have anything else? I mean, we're already past the hour, and I'm not hearing anything from Jeff. So I
No.
don't know if his mic went again.
he's on mute, so I guess intentional. But
Is he? Oh, he is on mute.
Yes, looks like.
It was a pretty chill week this week in BP,
That's
especially
always
if
a
you
good thing.
especially if you don't have a mega hole. Just chunk through Malevolence. Just try it. I bet you could do more than you thought you could do. Who is pretty bad at base defense, swept a lot of them and got a Conqueror hole. Hooray.
You went all the way? Did you?
Yep, got all
Oh,
4.
damn, nice. That's good. If Brian
it's
can
more
do
about
it,
your card
anybody
freaking
can do it.
More or less.
Yeah, and when they finish, they are like, "Hey, don't hit my base because I am so huge in this game and doesn't work the same way in the real world." But
That's
Yeah, there was a couple of people that did that. That's true.
Think-
I did see that.
It's like the War Games campaign where you're like, yeah, I just wrecked so and so's base. Let me go hit him in game, see how this works. Oh,
It's
that
not
wasn't
quite the
there.
same.
That wasn't there.
because I hit your base before and I could go deeper, no? That now, yeah.
Yeah, nope, not anymore. I don't know. It was I like nice chill weeks in BP when there's not when there's not a lot of stuff going on and a lot of controversy. I mean, it's good. It's people can enjoy the game and not worry too much about stuff like when they had the rumor come out about the change in Conqueror hulls being able to do or enter into FM targets and stuff. People freaked out, and I understand why people freaked out. I mean, I even wrote about it, but the thing is that hasn't come out, and we don't know how much time they're going to give us to adjust. So, while that causes some strife and upset players, you kind of have to
I
remember
think that
it's
you can
not.
expect at least 1 month. If they give you a month or nearly two, telling you that next after this raid ends, you will have 1 more month till they swap between the old drag armadas to the new river armadas. They are going to give you something in the same numbers.
Yeah, they've been very good lately about doing that, giving us some
Or
time
maybe
to
they are
adjust.
not going to do anything till April when April will be no. Oh, maybe they will do before, because I was going to say till they change the Dodgers, but I don't think they are going to wait 8 more months to do it.
Yeah, that's a
No.
long time. I think
You
if
know
they tell you and then give like the Citadel offer again to everybody, I think that's fine.
I was about to say if they come out with the other with as War Games that we got the Harlocks in, if they come out with that again,
Dark Reign,
Dark Reign,
the
if they come
Harlock
out
Sit.
with that again, and then they go, hey, you can have 2 Harlock Citadels, absolutely positively assume that it's changing, and it's going to change soon after that, because the Harlocks alone. I have a vid of just the Harlock with one tank doing the entire 1 or 9 for like an hour and 9 minutes of damage or something. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think you're just projecting you wishing for a second Harlock
I
Citadel
do.
into this
I want
idea.
one, I want one so bad because I have
He
to.
And I don't
he has
blame
been
you.
doing
It's
it.
so good.
I don't want to
He
keep
has
on
been doing
taking
the same,
my-
and he will not start till he cannot put 2 flagships on the same fleet. You will see.
I've been begging. Look, I've been begging for a
So it's
second
not gonna
Harlock.
change that
Second
much.
time they came out with that. I've
I
been
agree,
begging.
I agree with Tito. It's not going to change that much. If you have 2 Harlock Citadels, you're going to use one in your base and you're going to use one in your FM. But you
Yeah,
can't use
that's
them
why I want 2 of them.
simultaneously unless you want to. Yeah, you're not taking damage on them in the FM. So it's
But my builds are
the only metric
Yeah.
the only metric that
my
they
builds
may
are different.
have is because they seem to have a base defeat metric, how easy it is to beat a base. So having 2 Harlock Citadels, I think it's going to lower that. People aren't going to be able to.
Why? You can't put them in the same fleet.
No, but you're going to have 2 of them. So
Yes.
a lot of people are going to have 2 of them, and Harlock Citadel is very effective in base defense and extremely
Yes.
defective in FMs. So
Yeah.
people are going to have 2, and so they're going to have them. Some like me, I have mine in the FM. You used to have it in your base, but now you have it in the FM. But
Well, I
your
have them
base
both.
would probably better. Okay, but it was in there all the time, right?
It still is in there all the time. It's in there all the time unless I'm going out and doing
So
either testing or doing the FM.
Wednesday at noon, hit George. His Harlock Citadel is
No,
not
Ewok
going to be
hit
in
me
his
today.
base.
Ewok tried to snipe my fleet doing the FM and then came and hit me knowing that my Harlock Citadel was in the FM fleet, the little bastard.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you have 2 of them and they're tailored, you follow what I'm saying, right? You're just
Yes,
being
that's why
difficult.
I want a second one.
And I
That's
was
why I've been
agreeing.
begging for a second one.
That's why I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were arguing to not have a second one. I'm like, no. I want a second one.
I'm arguing not to have the second one if I'm Kixeye, because Kixeye has a metric that
Yeah, I think
deals with how the percentage of people that beat bases. So that's the reason that they wouldn't do it quickly without even thinking about it, because that's one of their metrics that they deal with, as far as I know.
I think there are so
However,
many people begging for it that it's going to eventually have to happen.
but they have to offset. Like, we've had the Harlock Citadel around for a while. We all know it's really good. A lot of people know it's really good. Wouldn't you, knowing a hole is really good in 2 different areas and know how to build it for the second area, hopefully, wouldn't you speed that up to get it in your base defense or FM fleet faster? It's not like it's going to be a bad investment.
Yeah, but
That's
does it
true.
negate other halls? Now
It's present versus future expected cash flows and whatever. Doesn't it get other holes? Yes, but we haven't had a lot of base defense holes out since the divide. But 2.
the divide, the Valiant.
There's only going to be one per.
Valiant and Vanquisher. Gamma is a defender. It's been out since before that, but
Yeah.
still good in base defense.
I mean,
Right.
from what my understanding is, there's only supposed to be one per raid meta, because that helps in keeping the differentiation of fleets and power creep. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, because basically do one whatever the class is. I mean, the future going forward is one whatever the class is of what we're attacking in the raid, and then conquerors and one defender. However the math works out, whether it's 4 or 5 weeks, that's the path going forward.
I hope. I mean, I like it so far. It seems to be working. It seems that.
But don't it seems like we're getting a glut of conquerors, and eventually those conquerors are not going to be. I mean, and they're giving them out in the TLCs. They shouldn't be giving them out in the TLCs.
I mean, are
because
they
there's
not?
too
Are we
many
not
already. I'm sorry. Go
We're
ahead.
getting a glut of conquerors, though. We're usually getting about 2 a month.
Yeah, which is way too many, don't you think?
I
No,
mean,
because the build
I
times on
do,
them
but
is
I'm
so
biased.
short.
Well, here's
You
the
can
thing
build
with
them.
conquerors. Yeah, with conquerors, they one, they're not going to have the life expectancy of the other stuff, so they are going to crank them out. 2, the people that do PvP a lot of times are the ones that actually coin. I mean, it's the expensive side of the game, so I totally see why they do it.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Does anybody have anything else before I wind down the show and go to the after show?
Nope, I'm good.
No, I think we covered everything that we should.
I mean, should we, I'm going backwards, am I? All right, let me see. Maybe we should go back to my girlfriend in France making stock and leave the show at that. I'm going to post the... I'm posting the
Hangout
the
link.
link to the Hangout for anybody else that wants to join. But I think I'm going to end the show at this point. And everybody have a great Thanksgiving weekend. And, have fun.